Hello and welcome to Triggered Care. Today's video is going to be about stigmatization against mental health and how that has led to civil unrest. I've been thinking a lot, about myself because, it's me and my recovery. I got to think about it sometimes, along with how my experience relates to other people. So a number of months ago, I made a video talking about stigmatization through the mainstream media and how it was making me feel just absolutely awful about myself and my worthiness of a person. And I thought about, recently, I've been thinking about how that would affect everybody on a massive scale. Because through mainstream media, whether it's news or entertainment or whatever it is, mental illness and trauma reactions are very much labeled as crazy, as out of the norm, it's labeled as something that should make you feel shameful. And it shames people into repressing their hard emotions, their experiences that are seen as out of the norm, when in reality, it's really normal. It's a normal reaction to abnormal circumstances. That's what trauma reactions are. They are normal. But when you're getting these messages through media that it's abnormal, when you feel sad, when you feel suicidal, you're going to cage that up in order to not other yourself into somebody who should be ashamed and somebody who's invalid because they're mentally ill. And this also causes a mass amount of projection and scapegoating to go on at the same time when you have a large group of people that you have conditioned to other mental health struggles. You also condition them to have very unhealthy coping mechanisms like projection and scapegoating, which is a reaction from the emotional abuse that our media has done to us. And that is a serious issue. Emotional abuse has the same effects on your brain chemistry and your brain health as physical abuse does. And so it needs to be taken seriously. It needs to be looked at. And the stigmatization of being open about emotions and feelings because that makes you sensitive or a snowflake is very victim blamey. And for people who use that sort of lens to look at the world, I guarantee you that they have experienced pain and they feel like they can't express that themselves and that other people shouldn't either. And it's a very, very common trauma reaction. This is not to shame everyone who has used scapegoating and projection because they don't know what else to do. Is a very natural first option when you are faced with trauma and you're unaware of what's happening. The fault lies in the thing that's abusive, not in its victims. So, in order to combat that, we need accurate representations of what it's like to be neurodivergent, where these symptoms come from. Stigmatizing abuse symptoms as crazy people stuff is highly toxic. It causes people to fight with each other and judge each other harshly when the world is already hard enough. We don't need to add to it amongst ourselves. We need to address the big abuser in our society, which would be the people controlling the subliminal messages that others, the people suffering from trauma reactions. Having a mental illness does not invalidate your worthiness. Your needs, your pain is important. You should be advocating for yourself. Everyone should be advocating for themselves. And I think that if we shift the focus from what is everybody else doing to, hey, what am I doing? Where's my pain coming from? What do I need to feel better? We can actually get into a conversation about where this feeling of unrest is coming from. We can actually, strategize of how to get out of this mess so we're not all miserable all at the same time. And being mentally ill gives you a unique perspective on the world that is needed. Trauma survivors have so much wisdom, and I've already made a video about how we have wisdom in trauma that can be very useful right now. But I've been going through a lot. Like always, I'm going through flashbacks. I'm going through eating issues. I'm going through sleeping issues. But part of it is the social unrest. My brain wants to fix that issue because it's my brain and I gotta overanalyze literally everything. But finally putting that piece together that, the stigmatization of mental health in mainstream hurts me, along with it hurts everybody. So everybody's going to have a victim blaming injury, if that makes sense. Everybody's going to feel like they have to be shut away into a closet and not be open about their rough stuff. Because if you do try to open up about how rough you're going through it, or suicidal ideation, or voices in your head, or whatever it is, a lot of times you are met with an assessment talk to, determine if you should be locked up in a psych ward, which, by the way, psych wards are extremely abusive. I don't know who needs to hear this, but it is well known throughout the survivor community that psych wards are terrifying and can be physically abusive, sexually abusive. I work in the mental health field. I have lots of anecdotal along with personal experience of psych wards being a negative impact on people's lives, making them more likely to complete suicide. And so that's another issue that we really need to address. Having our mainstream media tell us that being mentally ill is wrong, and then for the mentally ill people, their main resource is an extremely abusive institution, that's not great. That's not great at all. That's actually really sad, and probably part of the reason why our suicide rates are so high. So I'm feeling uppity about stuff, if you cannot tell. But, this is just some of the stuff I've been thinking about lately, along with my own trauma, which, I'll probably make a selfish video soon about my own experiences and all the flashbacks I've been going through lately, because holy buckets. But also, I don't want to talk about rape all the time. I also want to talk about how messed up our society is in abuse tactics and abuse cycles, and hopefully help people break out of those, because they really suck. So I hope all y'all are having good ones, and sending love to everyone. And you are worthy, and you are lovely, and thank you so much for watching my videos and supporting me. I really genuinely appreciate it, and just love to you. Have a good one.